My name is Matt Glover with OrthoFit Brace and Limb. I'm a certified prosthetist. I'm here with my patient Lonnie Holder, and we're going to be going over sock ply and kind of how to manage your socks to keep a socket fitting snug and make sure we're getting the correct fit. So this is Lonnie's current test socket. It's time to make his a little smaller, but we're going to kind of show you how and when to add socks. So if Lonnie goes to get this on, he's already got his interface, his liner on. That looks good. He's a suction suspension, so he uses a cushion liner with a suspension sleeve. So when he's putting it on, he's not getting a click or anything, so he really needs to see how fast it slides on. So you can see that goes on very easy, and see how it kind of gets a lot of wiggle room when you're putting it on. So we know right away that there's going to need a sock to tighten up that fit. So what happened is, after we casted him for this socket, his leg is shrunk a little bit. So to accommodate for that shrinkage, we need to put socks on to help fill in that empty space in that socket. So if you think about it like a shoe that's too big, you put a couple wool socks on, that helps snug the fit up. It's the same kind of principle here. So the goal is to keep that fitting nice and snug, so we're getting a good total contact fit around the whole limb and then offloading the bottom. So we want a little bit of pressure here, but we don't want that limb to bottom out inside the socket. And if the socks are not appropriate, then that leg's gonna get all that pressure and you're gonna feel it on that distal tibia. So socks come in 3 different sizes most of the time. You have a gray one which says lightweight, which is equal to 1 ply. You have a green one which is 3 ply, which is pretty much the equivalent of 3 of these. And then you have a 5 ply, the blue one which has 5 ply on it, which is equivalent to 5 of the 1 plies. So you can kind of count the total number, and that's the amount of sock ply that you have. So we'll start with the 1 to see if that does the trick. When you put it up, again, you want to roll it up and get all those wrinkles out. You don't want to pull it too tight and then that thins it out, so you're not actually getting a true 1 ply fit. You just want to pull it up and get the wrinkles out. Another thing with these socks, especially with a suction suspension, you don't want to pull that sock over top of the liner too far, where that sleeve won't be able to roll up and touch a little bit of that liner and a little bit of that skin. If that sock's in the way, it'll break the seal. So we always want to make sure that that sock doesn't come up higher than the liner, just to make sure that that suspension sleeve can actually lock in. So we'll see if that helps a little bit and slows down. So see, it slows it down a little bit, but we're still getting a pretty easy donning. So we're going to go ahead and try a little thicker sock. So what you can do is go 1 ply at a time. We know that's pretty loose, so I'm just going to skip right to the 3 ply. The goal is to keep adding socks until you get a snug fit and it feels good. So that one's a little better. Still goes on a little easy, but I think with how fast it goes on, we want a little bit more resistance. So we're going to pull that off and then go up to a 5 ply. And that should do the trick. See how I got a little resistance getting that on? It didn't go straight on, like you got a little bit of had to push a little bit. That's what we're looking for. And then see when I move it, everything moves together. And what you even do is have Lonnie go ahead and stand up on there. And then when he's standing up, you can see that's pretty good. We maybe even could add another one. So go ahead and pull it off one more time. And let's see what 6 ply look like. The goal here is to add as many socks as you need to make sure you get that fit and snug. And then what we can do is, when it's time for another socket, we can shrink it by that ply to make sure we get that total contact fit again without all the socks on there. So that looks pretty good. It went in slow. Do you feel any pain on that bottom bone? Feels pretty good. And then you can see the socks below that line. So then we roll this up and see how we get a little bit of that liner and then a little bit of that skin. So now we know that that's locked in. There's nothing breaking that seal. And then after Lonnie takes a couple steps, he creates the suspension and the suction, and he's good to go. And yeah, any more questions about socks, feel free to reach out.